Okay, so we are starting a new module, Module 3, and it's on financial literacy. So don't really need to worry about the first page, but I just wanted you guys to have a look at that. So financial literacy is what we're going to be looking at in Module 3. So different ways of earning an income, what that income will look like in terms of having deductions taken off. That's the main stuff we're going to be covering in this module. It's a pretty good one because most of you have either had a job or are going to get a job. So it's very applicable. And yeah, we're going to start right off here. So let's start here. For the first part, we're just going to look at the different ways of earning an income. And I'm going to kind of go through this part not super quickly, but more quickly than usual because I think a lot of you have had experience with probably most of these ways. Maybe not all of them though. Let's use a better colored pen. I do like purple and I would like it to be a bit bigger. There we go. Okay, so there's different types of jobs and there are different ways that obviously you can be paid for the work you do. So if you are getting a fixed payment for each hour of work that you do, that's going to be called, and again, don't mind, I'm going to post the notes that are actually handwritten, so not computer written, but I'm going to do my best with the computer written. So that's going to be called an hourly wage, and examples are things like if you've ever babysitting. Oh, I just erased it. No. Okay. That is a very poor babysitting. But babysitting, or if you are working at fast food places like Tim Hortons, places like that, they'll pay you per hour. Okay. If you are getting an hourly wage and tips, okay, so that means sometimes you'll get a job where you get a wage per hour, but then you also get tips, which is awesome. You might get a little less per hour than other jobs, but you will get tips. So if you are a waiter or a waitress, I think that's how we spell waitress, pretty much any job in the food service industry, when you're older, you become a bartender, things like that, you'll get tips along with your hourly wage. Tour guides, industry. Tour guides, there's a lot of tourism in Victoria, so I know that usually when the tourist season is at its peak, you can make a lot of money doing guided tours and things like that. If you are getting a regular fixed payment for work, so you're getting the same amount of money, they usually give you a quantity per year, but then they break it down and they give it to you either every 2 weeks or twice a month. They don't usually pay you yearly, but that is called a salary. So a salary is what teachers make, or how teachers are paid. So if you're a teacher, a lot of government jobs. If you're a pro athlete, you'll notice pro athletes, they'll be like, oh, they got however many $1 billion over 5 years or something like that. Not billion, usually million. Pro athletes, police officer, a lot of the government type jobs will be on a salary. And there are pros and cons to this. So you get a fixed payment. So what could happen is, sometimes maybe you don't work as much and you'll make the same amount as if you're doing a bunch of overtime. So with salary, you want to always make sure that you're taking into account if you're going to have to work a whole bunch of overtime, because you usually don't get paid for that if you're on a fixed salary. If you are getting a fixed sum or a payment based on a percentage of something that you sell, so you're doing sales, that's called commission. And if you're only making commission, you're probably doing big item sales. So you're probably doing things like maybe you're a car salesman person, or you are a real estate agent, so you're selling houses. They make a lot of money as like a percentage of what the house is worth. Artists also sometimes work on commission. Okay, But if you're only making commission, you're probably doing really expensive, you're selling really expensive things. If you are making a salary, so you're getting a salary and you're getting a percentage of your sales. So essentially you're getting a salary, or you could get an hourly wage as well. So a salary slash hourly wage. I'm going to run out of room. Plus commission. I'm just going to go commission like that. You are probably selling smaller items. So maybe you're selling electronics. Back in the day, I don't think Future Shop exists anymore. There's Best Buy now. But people at Future Shop worked on commission, so they would get paid a flat amount, but then they'd also want to sell you electronics or maybe appliances, a dishwasher, that sorts of thing. So they're, in the thousands of dollars, maybe hundreds to thousands of dollars, but not like 20 grand or 600 grand like a house. So you usually get because otherwise you're not going to be making very much. Your commission is not going to be allowing you to make very much. Okay. If you are doing a piece of work and you are getting paid for what you make or what you sold or the one thing that you did, so you've made something, if it's marketed and sold and it involves, you can get something called royalties. Okay, so I'm thinking of things like you're an actor or you're a musician, graphic artist, I believe, because if they're going to reuse, graphic artists might fall into just getting like a one-time contract payment, but if they're going to be using, think of like Disney, you have to pay to use the Disney animation if you're actually going to use it. So that's what you get royalties for. And then if you are getting paid based on the number, like the quantity of items that you make or complete, that's called piecework. And piecework. So I know in the summer people will sometimes go into the interior and they will plant trees. So you get a certain amount per tree. You could be a tree planter. There's also out by the ferries, there's that place where they advertise if you want to come and pick daffodils. So you could be a flower picker or a fruit picker, something like that. And you get paid per stem, or you might get paid per tree, that kind of thing. Okay, so these are just all different ways. And there are different, like more types of ways you can make money, but these are just like the main ones. So the first assignment, match each job with the most likely payment method. I'll let you guys do that. Okay. I will put up the answer key for that on the note package. It's pretty straightforward, but just make sure you can recognize which ones go with which. Okay. So I'm going to do 3.1 and 3.2 together just because 3.1 is very short. So 3.2 is looking at gross pay. Okay, so no matter how you make your money, so whether you're getting paid a salary, a wage, or any other manner, you make something and it is called your income. Okay, your income is the amount of money that you're getting for the work you've done. Usually, you either get paid weekly, bi-weekly. Now, bi-weekly is a weird word, okay? So stick it in your brain. Bi-weekly actually means every 2 weeks. It doesn't mean twice a week. My brain thinks it means twice a week quite frequently, and I have to remind myself all the time. It's every 2 weeks. That's what bi-weekly means. And semi-monthly, so that's twice a month. And it is kind of important, the difference between those two, because I'll just go off to the side here really quick as an aside. Let's use this color. If you're getting paid bi-weekly, let's say they're offering you $2,000, okay? And they're saying you can either have that $2,000 bi-weekly or semi-monthly. you have to remember that bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks, there are 52 weeks in the year, and I'll go over this again later on when I'm doing examples, but there are 52 weeks in a year, so if you're getting paid every 2 weeks, that means you're getting paid 26 times, okay? You're making that $2,000 26 times. Now, if you're getting paid twice a month, there are only 12 months in a year, months per year, and so twice a month would be 2 times 12, so that's only 24 times that you're getting paid, okay? So this would be something that you would want to take over this. You wouldn't want to take this option. This also comes into play when you're looking at things like the opposite. So if you're buying something and you're getting it on credit and they're saying, oh, for instance, car payments will charge you bi-weekly or semi-monthly, right? So if they say it'll be $200 bi-weekly, that means you're paying $200 26 times for that car. If you're paying $200 semi-monthly, you're only paying it 24 times. Okay, so just make sure you know the difference between these two. It's kind of a long-winded explanation. Okay, back to gross income. So, the amount of money you make before any deductions. So deductions are things that happen as soon as you pretty much turn 18 and you start, having to pay taxes. It's called your gross pay. So if you haven't had any money taken off, and we'll go over what gets taken off later, but once you take off your deductions, so deductions are money that you have taken off every paycheck, and it goes into things like taxes, union dues, and benefits. We'll talk about it later, but right now we're just going to care about gross pay. So you want to make sure you know how to calculate your gross pay because, and I kid you not, there are some, well, actually, because everything's electronic these days, it's really important that you make sure you do things like check your paycheck, make sure that you have put in your hours properly, and make sure that you're getting paid the right amount, okay? So, first example, Maria works as an electrician and earns $24.68 per hour. If she worked for 15 hours on one job, how much did she earn? So, intuitively, it might be in your head just the easiest way would be to multiply your hourly wage by the number of hours that she worked, because you know that her total pay, and I always like to just pretend, like, I'll pretend I'm Maria, and how much am I going to make? And that sometimes helps my brain. You know that however many hours you work times whatever you make per hour is going to give you your pay, right? So if you've worked 15 hours and you're making $24.68 per hour, in those 15 hours, you will have made $370.20. We're only going to ever go to 2 decimal places because that's all we ever talk about with money, right? There's never like $370.21, 213 cents. Like, we don't deal with that, okay? So just 2 decimal places for everything. The other way that you can do this, so the second option, oh, sorry, I'm going to scooch up, is that you can use a proportion. You may be sick of proportions, but you can definitely still use them, and some people, myself included, really like to use proportions. So you just have to make sure you're comparing for your proportion. If you're going to go ahead and use a proportion, you got to know what you're comparing. So here we're looking at dollars per hour, right? Those are the two things. So when we go, use a proportion, I'm going to make a certain amount of dollars per hour. We know, so we're given this number right here. This is what we're told. So we're going to set that up. She makes $24.68. Oh, I'm writing on a slant here, sorry guys. In 1 hour, okay? And then the other side of the proportion, what are we trying to figure out? Well, we're trying to figure out how much she makes. Remember that the dollars has to be the same, top and top have to be the same, bottom and bottom have to be the same, just like we did for measurement. So $24.68 in 1 hour, we want to know how much is she going to make in 15 hours. That is 4 or 5, okay? 15 hours. So we're going to do the exact same thing. that we have done for every proportion. We are going to multiply the pair, divide the spare, okay? So this is our pair, that's our spare, and you'll find that x is going to end up equaling $24.68 times 15 divided by 1, and of course we will get the same amount of money made. Okay, so you can use either method. I just need you to show me your work. Okay, so if you just give me this, you're not going to get 100%. You need to also show me either method A or method B. Okay, so you need to pick one. You need to make sure that you're showing me that you are using one of these two ways of solving the problem. And that's going to be true now for every, oops, I already used that color, dang it. Let's do a nice green. That's going to be true for every problem set going forward, okay? All right, next example. Last year, Michelle earned, oops, I don't want to modify, I'm so sorry. Last year, Michelle earned $45,183.36 at a hair salon. Okay, awesome. The other thing I want to point out, guys, is a lot of these are going to be word problems. So I would suggest that you, if you're printing this or if you're going to end up picking up packages, highlight the numbers that they give you, okay? And maybe highlight also the time that, so like last year, so she made that much in a year, because it can make it easier for you to pick out what you've got to use when the time comes. So what was her average monthly income? So they want to know her monthly income. So again, you might be able to just in your head say, well, her monthly income is going to be whatever she makes in a year, so her annual income, whatever she makes in a year, and then we're going to just divide it by 12 because there are 12 months in a year. Okay, so we're going to take her annual income, which was $45,183.36, and we're going to divide by 12. And that's going to give us, ooh, doing quite well at the hair salon, $3,765.28. Okay. Again, we can also use a proportion. So now what are we trying to figure out? Well, we're trying to figure out her monthly income. So if it's monthly income, that's dollars for every month. That's what we want to know. Okay. So we know that she made the dollar amount that we were given is $45,183.36. Now we know she made that in a year, but we want to know per month. So there are 12 months in the year. So we're going to put the 12 down there. And what we want to find out is how many dollars did she make in just one of those months. Okay? So same thing. Multiply your pair. Divide your spare. Okay, oops, come back. Yeah. And x is going to end up equaling times 1 divided by 12. You should get the exact same answer. Alright, awesome. Okay, and again, I don't care which way you use, you just must show me your work. Okay? Please and thank you, so that I can give you full marks. Okay, so a couple other examples I want to go through with you. 2 more. So example 3, she works cutting lawns. Last week, and I'm going to go through and highlight again my numbers. So last week, he has worked 34 hours and he earned $329.12. They want to know what his hourly wage is. Okay? So we know he made $329.12 in 34 hours. So we could tell ourselves, okay, we're just going to take his gross income and we're going to divide it by however many hours he worked. So we can figure out his hourly wage by going kind of backwards from what we were doing and taking the gross income and dividing it by the hours worked to figure out how much he made per hour. And I've done this before actually because I was told I was going to get a raise. And then I was looking at the gross income that I had made and I was like, I don't know if I actually did get that raise. So you do this in real life. So gross income divided by the number of hours he worked. He apparently worked 34 hours. So his gross income should then be, or sorry, not his gross income, his hourly wage, which we're solving for, is $9 and, oops, where's my eraser? $9.68, okay? That's how much he's making per hour. It's not very much. Luckily, the minimum wage has gone up, I believe, substantially since then. I'm not sure what it is exactly right now, but that might be a wage that you make. Maybe he's cutting lawns and getting tips or something. Sometimes they give you a lower wage if you're going to get tips, but you can never make less than minimum wage. So no matter what he's making, he should be at least making minimum wage. And we can also do this as a proportion. So again, we're trying to figure out how many dollars he's making in an hour. We know he earned $329.12 in 34 hours, okay? So how much did he get paid for only 1 hour? Multiply our pair and divide our spare. Okay, and you will end up with the same answer. $9.68. And when it's a question, like when they ask what is his hourly wage, if you can, please say he makes, you don't have to write it out, but $9.68. You could maybe put in per hour or dash hour, okay? Just so I know that you know what the question was asking. Man, I'm bad at drawing rectangles today. Oof. All right. Last but not least. So we have a situation. So again, I'm going to go through and highlight words that I know are important because we talked about them earlier. So Sam is being paid bi-weekly. Oh man, and I know his annual salary. So they're throwing different words at me, bi-weekly and annual. So Sam is being paid bi-weekly and his annual salary last year was $32,000, okay? What was his gross pay on each paycheck? So essentially what they are asking you there is they're asking you how much did he make every 2 weeks, okay? So how much, oh man, this is bad writing, sorry guys. How much did Sam make every 2 weeks? That's what they want to know, okay? So we know that there are 52 weeks in the year, okay? So there are 52 weeks in a year, and in order to figure out how many bi-weekly periods there are, so how many 2 weeks periods there are, we divide it 52 by 2. So he's getting paid 26 times per year, okay? So if there are 52 weeks in a year, you're getting paid 26 times per year. So if we're going to figure out the gross pay on each paycheck, okay, so gross pay, I'll just say per paycheck, is going to be equal to his yearly or annual salary divided by the number of times he's getting paid per year, okay? Divided by, I'll just say the number of bi-weekly pay periods. Okay, so his yearly salary was $32,000, and it's per year. So there are 26 pay periods per year. Okay, so remember, 1 year equals 52 weeks, which is equal to 26 bi-weekly pay periods. And I did kind of mention this earlier. Okay, so $32,000 divided by 26, and it means he was earning $1,230.77. Okay. Boom. And we can also use a proportion. So for the proportion, we're going to look at what are we trying to figure out? Well, we're trying to figure out how many dollars essentially he made every 2 weeks. So this one's kind of weird, but we could set it up as how many dollars does he make per week? Now remember, on the left side we put what information we have, right? So we know that he makes $32,000 now per year, so that's 52 weeks, right? And we want to know how much he makes every 2 weeks. So equals x over 2. Okay, you might not like using this way as much for this part, and that's totally fine. But essentially we're saying we know that his yearly salary is $32,000 in 52 weeks. What we want to find out, so this is what we know, and this is what we're looking for on the right side, right? So what we want to find out is how much he's going to make every 2 weeks, which is the bi-weekly gross income. Okay, so we multiply our pair, divide our spare. X is going to equal to 32,000 times 2 divided by 52. And if you plug that into a calculator, you will figure out that you get the exact same gross pay bi-weekly. Okay? Okay, I'm going to leave it there for now for this because this is already a half hour. Please do the assignment on page 5. It's only 1 page, so I'm just going to get you to do the entire assignment on page 5, okay? So I'll write that also in the instructions on the Google Classroom, but I think if I scroll up, it is probably there, hopefully. Yep. So please do all of this, okay? Because it's just 1 page, and this is good practice. All right, that's all for this one.